Hey. Hi, James.
I'm going to get off now.
Okay, goodbye. Okay, welcome everybody. I am so glad you're here because today is the day that we have been waiting for. It's book launch day, and I am here to walk us through some of the content in my new book that is out today, Mind Over Explicit Matter, which it's really exciting. Hey, Mutalip, Aaron Owens, good to see you here. Let's see, Truman, thank you. And you know what? This is more about like, it's a really interesting process because thank you for the congratulations because it's definitely, a big project that I have been doing. But at the same time, today is the day that this book goes into the world to help as many people as humanly possible. And I am just anchored into that today. So it's so exciting to, have accomplished it. But it is even more important that this book is hopefully going to create just a massive ripple effect, across the world. So if you need this book, please get it. Hey, Coca-Cola from Ireland. Yeah, thank you. St. Patrick, my namesake, right? We, of course, celebrated St. Patty's Day on Saturday. So let's see who's here. And then I have some thoughts prepared and about the book, and I wanted to share some cool things. So let's Ricardo's here from Brazil, from Louisiana, early bird 38, good to see you. Ganesh in the house. We'll give people time to come in here. Yep, you can order the book. Thank you for putting that in. Hey, Tom from Virginia, Stephen from Scotland. Thank you from the UK. Thank you, Mutalip, for the donation. I absolutely appreciate that. All donations that come in here, I pay it forward to the nonprofit that I've created, Porn Brain Prevention. We think we're going to rename that Leave the Screen so that we can broaden it. David from Mexico. Hey, David, again. Yes, now I see who it is. It's so good to have you here. David is an OG supporter, so I am very glad to have you here. From Hungary, really cool. Yeah, please put some questions in. I'm going to call you Eli because your name's a little longer. So, Eli, put it in. Um, let's see. Oh, unvaccinated men's club harassing me on book launch day. Uh, okay, now moving on. So, here is what we're going to do today. I wanted to show you Mind Over Explicit Matter in the flesh. This actually is the OG version. And before I came up, I wrote it in silver marker up to my office because I didn't want to lose sight of this is the very first one that was published and sent to me a little while ago. And I just got a couple cases in. So I don't want the first one to get lost in the couple cases. And here is the mark you can see. This is where my husband currently is reading the book. Don't tell him I told you, but right here. Yes, that's like page 30. I woke up this morning and I came out into the like living room where we hang out in the morning, and he was listening to the book on Audible. And of course, I shrieked and asked him to turn it off. And he's like, "What's your problem?" I'm like, recording the book for Audible was one of the coolest experiences. And, I loved it, but listening to one's own voice, reading their book to their husband, that was a bit much. So I had him shut that down. But pretty funny. Okay. Yeah. Thanks from Nigeria, from Colombia. Really cool to have everybody here. I'm really glad. From Long Island, New York. Beautiful. Thank you for joining me here today. The Philippines, we've got a lot of really cool. Kenya, really cool, really cool. So I'm very excited to have you all here with me today. So in this book, which I encourage you to pre-order if you need, or not pre-order, order if you need it. People from my team are joining me here today for this celebration. They've put the link in the chat. So please go grab this book. I would appreciate if you gave it a 5-star review, if you are getting 5-star value from it, which I truly believe that you will. And I'm going to tell you why that's important in just a second. So I'm going to walk through a couple themes from the book and share a few personal ditties from the book also. The first thing that, and starting in order of the book, the first thing that I share is the dangers of pornography and sexual media. We know there's so many scientific studies that prove all the negative backlash of porn consumption. So if you read or if you see other influencers that are saying porn's fine for you, if your doctor tells you porn's no big deal, I want you to know it is a big deal. And it's difficult to be able to parse it out because of number two, which is the disinformation campaigns that are out there. Fake news about porn. People tell me all the time, my clients tell me all the time, I just saw in this newspaper that porn's not really that bad for you. Of course, just like the smoking industry, there are people out there putting disinformation out about porn, saying it's fine. And if you don't know about the smoking industry, it's so interesting. I did all the research on it. Back when all the people, everybody was smoking, research came out that it's good for you. It helps you to relax. And I just saw in a YouTube comment yesterday that I'm crazy because of all the benefits of porn, that it helps you to relax. Well, that might be so, but in the relaxing, it causes neurological dysregulation. The number one thing that's happening to people is erectile dysfunction and sexual arousal dysfunction that's coming from this neurological dysregulation. So, this is not something that we want to, push to the side. And if you're struggling with porn use and if you're acutely aware that you have to go back to it, not that you're choosing to go back to it, that it is in fact a compulsion, then you know what I'm talking about. I don't need to tell you that. But I want you to know the dangers are outlined, mental and physical health, in the book, and a little bit about the disinformation campaign and how you can know what fake news is versus the truth. And that's in there too. The truth is always the truth. So that's the beautiful thing about it. It doesn't change. And you know what I say, knowledge is power. So when you understand the truth, you now have the knowledge to move forward. So in the book, I tell a story about Sam throughout the whole book. One thing I want you to know here today is that Sam's a real person and Sam and his family are in my life still. So, a really cool ancillary benefit of having this book go into the world is that I continue to see the benefits of how leaving porn continues to show up for Sam. And so at the end of the book, there's a story about how it showed up for him. And that is true, but it continues to blossom for him. So what we're trying to do here is to break a negative feedback loop or a downward spiral and to get you upward spiraling. And you know what I always say, there's no such thing as a horizontal spiral. You're either in a downward or an upward spiral. We're trying to upward spiral here today with you. So that's what we're talking about in the book. Now, Sam's real. So that's another thing I wanted you to know, and I keep watching the benefits of leaving porn behind show up for him and his family. That's what can happen for you. But I wanted to give you a couple takeaways too, because I consider these lives like live coaching calls, even though we're celebrating book launch day. So, some of the most important parts for the book that you can take away in a snippet here today is that if you're struggling, it's imperative to create an offensive plan and a defensive plan. The offensive plan is comprehensive and it covers many aspects of your life. I always say this is a deep end issue, not a shallow end issue. So, in this way, it's imperative that you make a plan. You assess your situation, you figure it out, you make a plan. The way that I help people is I can see how their brains are performing. And in the book, I talk about the merits of QEEG brain mapping. It's one of the most powerful and non invasive ways that you can actually see the damage in your brain visualized on a map. That's what I help people do. And the book will help you understand how that can be important for you. From there, that can be part of your plan. Assess the situation, know how much damage your brain has sustained. You know the impact of explicit matter on your brain, which then is projected out as the behaviors of your mind and your body. That's where the mental and physical health issues come in. And if you haven't heard me talk about it in a while, basically it's anxiety, depression, ADHD like symptoms, erectile dysfunction and sexual arousal dysfunction, low motivation, anhedonia. I just got a question about anhedonia. Anhedonia is lack of feeling. Porn numbs you out. But if you feel numb a lot, You might be numbing the negative feelings, but you end up numbing the positive ones too. So, that's important to make an offensive plan and a defensive plan. The defensive plan is a pivot plan. 3 seconds. Set a timer. Feel how short, how very short 3 seconds is, so that you know you have to have a plan for those moments of urges and cravings. And when you feel an urge or craving, then it's important for you to be able to pivot and get real world dopamine. We're talking about a dopamine dependency here. It's all outlined in the book. So I'm kind of going in order right now of how, when you move through, of course, there's so much more in here. There's 55 brain hacks in this book, which is really cool. All right, let's see if I have any questions here in the chat. I think I said hey to everybody. Um, let's see. Oh, thank you, Truman. Truman Nolan getting the book, and I'm so glad to be able to show up here. I actually was thinking about my journey here on YouTube. Somebody asked me how long you been doing that, and an interesting thing is that I'll tell you the quick story. I was looking back at the video. It's 2 minutes and 3 seconds long. So when I found out about, porn and the dangers of porn, I made a video and I put it on this channel, which had no other videos on it. I have another YouTube channel where I've been posting about brain stuff for a long time, but I put out this one single video on this channel. It doesn't say much, even though I look back, I have to add some comments to it because it's old. But the first few people, and if any of you are here, I want you to know from the bottom of my heart how much I appreciate you, because this is what happened. I made a video. It says nothing about neuroscience. It says, "Don't watch porn. Porn is bad for you." Let me find, I wrote down the title of it. How long does it take for a brain to conquer pornography? And it currently has 2,288,538 views. So what happened on that video was I put that video out and people showed up and they put positive comments. They're like, "Thank you so much for this video. Will you please make more?" Every comment was positive. Now, if you know how YouTube goes, every comment is not positive these days. Every comment in that first video was positive. I put it out in May, and I honestly didn't even know that it gained any traction until the fall. So I get this notification that my video had been viewed 1 million times, I think it was, something like that. And I'm like, "What video?" And I'm looking in the channel that I had had for a long time on brain stuff, which is still online. It's Dr. Trish Leigh, Brain Rewire. And there's no video with a lot of views. They all have like 350 at that point. You know what I mean? So then I'm like, it's the porn video. And I went over and all the comments were, "Thank you for showing up. Thank you for talking about this. Nobody's talking about it. Can you present help for us?" That's how this channel started. It was because people were so kind and supportive and they wanted more information. And I felt like I had the world's biggest secret at that time, because I was actually kind of afraid to tell the people in my life that this is what I had pivoted into because I cared about it so much. There's a drive on my computer till this day that has a folder named Passion Project. And every time I look at it, I chuckle because I would just refer to it as my passion project. I have people working with me in the passion project, but not telling the other people what it was about. Think about that. Think about just the shame and the weirdness that I felt because I was working on a porn addiction recovery project. So if you are one of those first followers, I totally appreciate that. And, that's kind of how I showed up here. So back to Truman's comment that I've been helping him for years. This was me showing up in response to people who really wanted the help. And I'm so excited to have a book to get into people's hands. People who need help, I want this book in their hands. I know it will help. I know it will. It's a formula, and you need a formula for this thing. Okay, Singapore. Gregory, how's it going, my friend? Oh, awesome, Aaron. Kindle and Audible. Thank you. And please give it a review. Back to the review thing is that if you are inspired to give it a review, of course, I want authentic reviews. It will really help offset any haters out there who are going to give it negative reviews. That's going to happen because of the content, but I appreciate you all showing up and, giving me those, giving the book those stars. Thanks, Coca-Cola. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. Uh, oh, so Mutalip, well, right now the book is in English, but if the way it works is if we sell enough books in English, they will translate it. So that's a cool thing. Economic crisis was, which this is Orhan's comment. Living in an economic crisis, which creates a horrible environment, not being able to connect with family, need a dopamine hit. Yep. So it's important that you learn to give yourself dopamine hit. But really, what the book is about not needing external dopamine hits. It's about figuring out your purpose and your passion and your creativity. You can get dopamine from these internalized sources. So, me writing that book wasn't about anybody validating me from outside. Like, of course, it's nice that you're here with me today, but that was a passion project. And all the dopamine came from being on purpose and creating. That's what I want for you. That's how you get dopamine, even in difficult times. I've had my fair share of difficult times and that I wouldn't wish upon anybody. And honestly, I still have a couple going on, if you know what I mean. But I'm here. I'm able to give myself not only the dopamine, which is for pleasure, but also serotonin for joy and happiness and oxytocin for connection. And one last thing about the comment, Orhan, is that energy in our brain, it attunes. So you can think about your family and connect in that way. Don't get me wrong, it's not the same as hanging out with them. But every day I sit quietly and I think about the people who I haven't seen in a long time in my life that I love and I want to connect to. I use my mind and the physical electromagnetic frequency energy in my body and my brain to connect with them. So I encourage you to do that. Okay, Sly Man. Thanks for being here, my friend. Okay. Does porn warp a person attachment to people? Absolutely. So talking about avoidant attachment to your lover, inconsistent about how you show love. Yes, that's from Nowhere H. And yes, that makes absolute sense. And in the book, I talk about it in terms of it creates what's I call a narcissistic bubble. So it makes you see the people around you as objects for your pleasure and your desire. So I encourage you, if you're here because we're using this as a coaching session, think about have you viewed other people in your life solely for what you can get from them? And that's where it'll be hot and cold. You'll be attached to a person if you feel like you can get something from them. And if you're not getting what you need from them, then you may be avoidant. There's more to it than that. So there's anxious attachment, avoidant attachment. And yes, many people who are caught up in porn, it creates avoidant attachment. So many times people think there's a chicken and an egg effect, and you think the avoidant attachment is what makes you use porn. It's actually that porn's the chicken and the avoidant attachment is the egg. So hopefully that helps you out. Let's see what we've got here. Okay. Did I glitch out? Am I back? Let's see. Uh, Let me see. Okay. I must have glitched out and now I'm back. Hopefully. Oh, thank you, Dave. Yeah, I know a lot of people will tell me that I remind them of their mothers. And first of all, I don't love being called. Okay, good, I'm back. I don't know what happened. Um, People will tell me that they think I'm like their mothers, even though I'm much too young to be called ma'am, right? Okay. Oh, okay. Some people must be. Hi, Armando. How are you? Cody in the house. Hi, my friend. How are you? Someone had a question about fetishes. Yeah, in the book I talk about arousal templates. So what porn does, and this is logical, and there's a lot about it in the book, but what it does is the thing that you keep watching becomes the dopamine source for you at the highest levels. So when you keep watching it, that's the thing that becomes your quote unquote fetish. It's the thing that's linked um, strongly to dopamine. So, what we want to do is unlink that and then link your brain back into your real life. And that's what the book helps you to do. Hey Max, thanks. I'm feeling great these days. Okay, so let's see. Thank you, Abhinav. I'm glad you're getting the book in India. That's totally awesome. Uh, and the opinion of the fam squad, check out what we're doing. The fam squad is so they're stoked for this whole thing. You know what I did the other day? My daughter she's 14, she took a copy of the book. When a case of books came about 5 or 6 days ago, she asked if she could take a copy, and she took it into her room and she started to read it, which is really cool. And someone asked me, like, aren't you weird about your 14-year-old reading it? No, absolutely not. I want every 14-year-old to read this book, because I now know from doing the research, 14 is late for people being sucked into this. So when she went to school, I went and I wrote her a note in the front of it. And then I took a copy and I put a copy of the book in everybody else's room. And some of the kids are lower key, but I know they all appreciate it. And we are having a huge swanky party on Saturday, which is going to be amazing. So if you follow me on social media, on Instagram, please go over there and follow me, because I'm going to be posting a lot of pictures of the party. I'm not exactly a throw a party girl. And what I mean by that is I have not had a party in 1 decade, but my bestie Chanel, who you may have seen on the pictures on Instagram, she is a very big party girl. So she has convinced me to have a big swanky party. So we're having a jazz band come, we're having bartenders come. Um, I have a balloon artist making this really cool balloon arch, and a balloon brain, a blue balloon brain, like the cover of the book, which is super cool, and a balloon red X. So I'm going to put pictures of all of that online. Jamie, who lives locally, but Jamie and I was thinking this the other day. I don't think I've seen her in person in at least a year. She met me out one time with my friends, maybe a year ago. So she's coming. So we'll be in the same room. So we'll get some pics of me and Jamie. So yeah, it's going to be really, really cool. I am so excited. So, anyways, we're going to take some awesome fam pictures too. We're going to be missing how many kids? Two kids. The boys will all be here, and only one of my daughters will be here, but we'll miss the other two, and we'll Photoshop them in. Okay, so let's see. What is the difference between? All right, we have 3 minutes, and we're going to stick to our time frames here, because I know I always go over. I say we're going to be here for 3 minutes, and then we're here for another 30 minutes, right? Okay. What's the difference between a sex drive and a dopamine addiction? How can you tell the difference? Well, a healthy libido is you feel sexual in the times when it's appropriate to be sexual. Right? Libido is okay, you're moving towards being with your partner, and you want to be with your partner for dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. It's more of a total experience. So, like, if you know you're having date night and you're getting excited to go out and then be with your partner, that's libido. But if you're in front of your computer and it's Tuesday morning at 9, and you have a big project you have to do and your brain is overwhelmed, and you have this brilliant idea to watch porn, that's a dopamine dependency. That's your brain saying you're doing something that is cortisol inducing, and you need dopamine to offset that cortisol. So look for that in your patterns. And the book talks about that a lot, because that's the essence of what drives an explicit matter or porn addiction is you need hits of dopamine to get through your life. That's what a compulsion is. You're compelled. You need to. It's more about having to go to, when we think about pornography, that's not a sexual experience. That's consumption of an unreality. So they're very different experiences. Knowing you're going to be with your partner, another human being who loves you, cares about you, and wants to be with you. Now that's an amazing experience. But opening up your computer or going on your phone to watch a contrived situation, that's very different. All about it in the book, all about it. Okay, so let's see. Okay, one more question here, and then does the book help for recovery of PIED? That's a really good question. In fact, it does. It absolutely does. I currently am doing a study that I'm very, very excited about. And I am looking at the brain performance pattern in QEEG brain mapping of porn addiction and PIED. Every single person, hey there, fancy, thank you, thank you, thank you. Who is that? We've got a donation, edging from porn. However, I suddenly quit and get out. Is that fine? Saeed, yeah, okay, thank you for the donation. I'll answer your question in just a second. But the PIED piece is that it's it is the dopamine deluge in your brain that floods your system and it gets you stuck in artificial neutral. It's alpha on your brain map. And people have heard me talk about it online. Then I've done their brain map and they haven't told me they know exactly what I'm about to say, but they see all that alpha in their brain. Then in neurofeedback brain training, we bring all that alpha down. And guess what? Your PIED goes away. So in the book, I give you all the behavioral things that you can do at home. But if you're really stuck, I say it in the book. Advanced technology and neuroscience is here to help you. When I work with people, it's a 4 month program. Most people are better in 4 months, and it's all trackable on data. So that's the important part. So the book is an all encompassing experience that gives you everything you need, plus it tells you about the tech. Okay, so let me answer these questions from our donators. I appreciate this. I was edging on porn. However, I suddenly quit and got out of it. Is it fine? It is fine if you can handle it. But if you start going through withdrawal, which you very well may, recognize your brain got a ton of dopamine from edging. Now it needs a ton of dopamine from something else. What I encourage you to do is dopamine stack from real world experiences. Try to get as much dopamine from your real life as humanly possible because it can't compete with the amount that you got from edging, but you can do it. Okay, let's see. Nothing is ever real. Last question. Uh, I'm 125 days free. Amazing, amazing. Congratulations, my friend. Had lustful temptation several times, but I don't let it control me. You know what I always say, and I'm going to say it in a second. Pray every day. I love that. Prayer has been shown to shift a QEEG quickly. So if you're into prayer, I encourage you to do it. If not, meditate. Just get some quiet time. All right. Now, thank you so much for all showing up here and celebrating the book launch of Mind Over Explicit Matter. It is available at all book retailers. I really hope that this book helps you. This is it. This is going to be the gold standard in porn addiction recovery. That's what the publisher is hoping. So I'm hoping that it helps you today to move forward so you can be one of those people that puts in the YouTube comments, like I saw yesterday. Someone wrote, "Thank you for your work. It has saved my family." That's why I'm here. I want you to make your brain healthy, to make your mind healthy, to make your body healthy so that you can have the relationships that you want, you can be on purpose, and you can create the life that you want. So grab the book, give it a 5-star review if you're inspired, and stay with me here on this channel because I have awesome plans to expand it, and I'm in the midst of doing it so I can show up for you in new and exciting ways that have to do with screen addiction and rocking out your best life. So, thanks so much for being here. And as always, control your brain or it'll control you. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. Let's see what we got here. Let me say goodbye. Okay, Abhinav, see you, buddy. Bye, Rahman. Let's see. Oh yeah, you know it, Abhinav. Control your brain or it'll control you. Will it be available in Mexico? I think so, Chris, because you can order it worldwide. All right, goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.